Let's look at the back pages this morning. And there's only one place to start. It's the best headline of the morning. Congratulations to everybody at the Irish Daily Star, because we've got a picture of Padraig Harrington with his ice cream yesterday, and it says 99 problems, but Lahinch ain't one. It is quite the headline. You've also got on the back page Delaney demoted by UEFA. He's been demoted from his role as UEFA Youth and Amateur Football Committee Chairman to sharing the Deputy Vice Chair's position with UEFA. Pogba going down under. Paul Pogba will be joining Manchester United on their travel to Australia over the next couple of weeks. And don't rock the boat, says Dublin forward Dean Rock. He won't let the debate over funding of GEA in the capital disrupt his focus.
I have the Herald here. Before I tell you that story, I forgot when you said 99 problems. I remember being down at Lahinch on a girly trip with girls who used to work with me in TG Cahir back in the day, and Donegal were playing, and one of the girls was from Donegal, and we were wandering around and we found a small little pub belonging to an elderly gentleman that was showing Donegal playing. So Tina's like, yes, we'll go in here. We went in, we all ordered our drinks. There's a group of 8 of us, and she goes, brilliant, you're showing the Donegal game. We sat down, your man just picked up the remote, turned it off. And he was like, now have your drinks.
Jeez, that's what else did he do? What was the reason for that?
I don't know. Either he didn't like the fact that somebody from Donegal had spotted Donegal playing and wanted to come in and watch, or he just wanted to learn us.
They're serious about their business down there.
So we had 99 problems, but Lahinch both won for a while. For Tina, I mean, we still have lovely drinks, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Harold, we'll move on the bus. We have 2-tier initiative worth exploring, according to Kieran Whelan. That's about the GAA's proposed changes. We expect battle. That's a piece with Dublin's David Tracy talking about what he says is a massive test against Laois in Portlaoise, and saying basically all their good work will be undone if they come up there. And Kevin, you're not so sure on this headline here. Shea set to join Frank's.
No, we'll see. Shea's with Derby at the moment. They're in Tampa, I think. Derby have gone pre-season, so he's still at Derby, but I don't know. I wouldn't expect that to happen now.
You wouldn't expect him to go to Chelsea?
I don't know. It doesn't look on the cards anyway. Yeah, we'll see.
Because we'd obviously made that assumption here that he would follow Frank Lampard, but I guess we made that assumption that he was tied to Frank Lampard rather than Derby County.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, it's not so much that. It's not so much even that, but it's just the way it works, isn't it? I think Chelsea have got. I think it was Hilario's in there. I think they got Cudicini as coaches around the club as well. So I think there's a big Chelsea connection there anyway. So we'll see further down.
It's something that Given wants to do, get in with a Premier League club ASAP.
Oh, he would. I'm sure what an opportunity it would be, though, if it came about for him anyway. I think it's just circumstances.
Yeah, we'll see anyway. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on that in the next couple of days. The back page of the Sun this morning is sands of time are running out. Padraig Harrington saying it's now or never for my career. Some great back pages dedicated to Padraig Harrington this morning. Naughty Nick is at it again. Rafa Nadal branded Nick Kyrgios dangerous and disrespectful after winning their grudge match. And Frank's for nothing. Frank Lampard admits he must prove himself all over again to Chelsea's fans.
I have the Racing Post, and obviously would be Frank Lampard there. Chelsea legend Lampard 5-4 to deliver a top 4 finish, and they're also focusing on Wimbledon. Stellar pair of hot favourites for doubles opener, and that's of course Andy Murray and Serena Williams.
The back page of the Irish Daily Mail this morning is now or never. Harrington is keen to strike while he's hot, and Rebels boosted by final display. So after pushing Kerry to the brink in the Munster final, Cork have named an unchanged side for their game against Laois this weekend.
The Independent, that's not like good headline of Harrington. I picture him back in the swing.
Great
Harrington
picture.
turns back the clock as cards 8 birdies on the way to a sizzling 63 at Lahinch. It's a great picture, actually. Just shows how beautiful Lahinch is as well. And an interesting headline from Martin Breheny. Leinster boss refuses to rule out hurling expansion, and that's about the possibility of expanding the Leinster Senior Hurling Championship from 5 teams to 6. Basically in the argument that the team that's lowest tier there, it's not going to do them much good if they're just going to be coming up and down every year. So
what do you reckon?
I can see the merits of it, absolutely. You're not going to improve unless you're playing the best. I don't know. Carlow will have learned a lot this year, and they'll go back down with that, but are they going to progress? Probably not, being at the top level, the next level down. I don't know. I mean, you'd be more used to this, obviously, in a footballing sense, where you'd know teams that would be kind of in the bottom 3, 4, and the top 2 or 3 in the next one. Like, does it do you good to stay in the bottom 3, 4?
I've listened to a lot of the arguments around it when I've been, about
being a yo-yo team, basically.
Yeah, it is. Would you rather play more games? Would you rather play at your level, get a competitive team up? But you may have a team. We know it is within the JE. You may have a team one year where you may be outstanding. You may have real potential, and you've not got a chance of actually going to seriously go and compete. and the next season that team might be disbanded. You might not be able to be able to compete then. So it's always within the GAA. It's almost strike while the iron's hot, isn't it? I don't know. There's arguments to and from, for and against that, I suppose, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. Like
massive arguments though as well. That's the thing.
The thing is, when we saw a couple of the arguments recently, like the Paul Cody thread on Twitter, when he was talking about the fact that Carlow were getting a bit more exposure this year because they were playing the top tier, he also had the caveat that Carlow were the team that were ultimately resigned to the end of the Sunday game in a 2-minute report package or whatever it may have been. That I wondered, does it just add another element of dead rubber to the Leinster Championship? Like, to put it bluntly, like I wouldn't say that's the case. I think it would mean that the bottom two there face off would become a vital game because that team would get relegated.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's, as you say, there is kind of two edges to the sword, and I can definitely see Carlow building on it next year, and I can definitely see promotion for them doing a lot of good for them in the long run. Ultimately though, what does that mean for the team below them, and what does that mean for a team that does get relegated again next year? There will be a team that gets relegated and eventually starts to dwindle away. So I don't know, 6 is a nice even number and it's an easy fix. There will be no bye week in the Leinster Championship, so it's definitely workable, and like I would not be surprised to see it happen at all. Back page of the Mirror this morning is Harrington and Frank Lampard in the same headline. Good to be back. Lampard laughs off the pressure and vows to succeed as Chelsea boss like he did as a player. And with regards to Padraig Harrington, home hero Harrington has a dream start at Lahinch as he fires a fab 7 under 63. Meanwhile, Pep has turned Manchester blue. So Rodri was unveiled by Manchester City and wasted no time in taunting local rivals United by insisting the city is now blue. Great signing for City, Kev.
Yeah, good signing. Massive. You know, it's the way it is. There's always a premium on City when they're signing players. Every year they're breaking the transfer record. Next year we'll be talking about a different player that's going in. Not a massively high-profile player in terms of what he's actually done in the game, but he's just been about steady progression. And what he's done, Pep Guardiola, with players over the last few years, and I was in here last night briefly and the lads were talking about someone like Bernardo Silva, who didn't play an awful lot, particularly in his first 6 months at City, and he was able to work his way into the team. Now he's one of the key players. David Silva will move on next summer, so probably Fernandinho probably on.
He's a Fernandinho replacement.
He's a Fernandinho replacement, exactly what he'll be. So it's how he's worked it. He seems to be a step ahead all the time, Guardiola, in signing these players, and he'll be a player for 10 years there at City, I would imagine. Yeah,
for sure. You've got the Irish Examiner this morning, Maura Chassa?
I do, yeah, and their sports section again has a photo of Padraig Harrington on the front with Mr. Cool as the headline. Dream Irish Open start for Harrington in Lahinch, the sunshine, and a really interesting bit of a long read in the back by Paul Rouse. It's really worth having a go. I've only managed to read half of it before we came on air. Why a man who has never had a GAA game is immortalised at Croker, and it is about, we've all heard of the Nally stand, it is about P.W. Nally. It is telling his story, and also I totally forgot, Croke Park's famous Nally stand was re-erected in Park Columkill in Tyrone in 2007, which I totally forgot happened, but it's all here by Paul Rouse. I think it's well worth the read. It's always good. I think GAA history is always really fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff we don't know, and that's our own faults. And
who is P.W. Nally? Did you get grasp on?
I did not.
Exactly the same thing. Who is he?
I can put on my best bedtime reading voice and read the whole thing for you. But I don't know anything about P.W. Nally. I won't lie to you. But it says here in the headline he helped to organise the meeting in Irishtown in 1879, where the Land League was founded, and he died in Mountjoy Jail November 9th, 1891. I don't know anything about him between that. And yeah, it just goes to show there are all these stands and stuff in Croke Park and all these historical monuments and things that we just don't know. We just know the names, and the names.
Worth a read, that.
The names of the pitches all around the country, like McHale Park, Cusack Park, the two Cusack Parks. There's all these different names, and we just Pearse Stadium. We don't know anything about it. Well, some people do, but I'm going to say I'm not good on my history. I should be better.
Yeah, Paul Rouse's column, always worth a read on a Friday. The Irish Times goes with the golf. Harrington reborn in County Clare, says the main headline there. Also a headline on Cormac Sharvin, stepping up to the plate en route to his 66. Obviously hasn't been the best start to his round there, according to John Dung's report at the moment. We'll bring you through the scores very, very shortly indeed. Interesting line here. Sharvin, a Walker Cup player on a team which included Paul Dunn in 2015, narrowly missed out on a tour card at Q School last year. This rings a bell, but a lot of people might not have known this. He missed out on the tour card at Q School when penalised 2 strokes for mistakenly playing a tee shot marginally outside the tee markers. Imagine that.
Oh, God.
Your entire professionalism on the line, and you take a tee shot outside the tee markers. It does ring a bell. I think the lads in Golf Weekly might have done it, or maybe they had him on the show. And I've heard the story, but it just kind of reminds you just how small the margins are in this game on every level. Performed well in the Challenge Tour this year with 3 top 10 finishes in his last 5 events. Obviously, for someone like him and with places going for the Open, it's a massive week altogether for him. We'll bring you up to speed, as I say, on the Irish Open very shortly once we get an update on that. And you've got a couple of UK back pages.
Yeah, here's the Telegraph, and obviously they're going to be focusing very much on Wimbledon and the crack that was happening there yesterday. And a ferocious looking picture of Rafa Nadal. Show me some respect. Nadal blasts Kyrgios after Australian admits trying to hit him during grudge match, which is totally non-genteel.
You know, I was saying just there before we came on, like, so I like Wimbledon, I like watching the tennis, I always have done, and yesterday I was watching the golf, and you know, it's like you end up flicking round, and I saw a tweet from Stephen Doyle that game was about to start, Kyrgios, and I immediately just put it straight on. I turned the golf off, so I watched the first set of that before I actually came into town last night, so it's amazing, really, when something like that. Kyrgios has acted like an arsehole, we know that, and he's acted like an arsehole for a long time. But there's a bit of buzz around him, and that's the thing. So all of a sudden now there's a spark about him, and people are going to want to watch tennis just because he's been a bit of an arse. So I don't know. I think characters are always great to have in any sport, and he's certainly one of those. Yeah,
for sure. Like I don't want to say I really like Nick Kyrgios. Some of the stuff that he does kind of annoys me a little bit. But at least he's truthful and honest.
He's created a spark, hasn't he? There's a spark there now, and he's been knocked out, so we're not going to see him. But if he's playing at the US Open or whatever it would be, you're going to watch him because to see what sort of carry on is happening on court.
I think as well it makes it easier to watch and makes it a little bit more entertaining when you kind of see a disruptor like that in a sport that is so ingrained in the institution that has been Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Andy Murray. Anybody who says anything about them, you need to leave this press room immediately. You're not allowed to hang around Wimbledon. Nick Kyrgios is one of those people who's like, I'm not going to be reverent towards Rafa Nadal just because he's a legend of the game. I'm going to be myself, and I like that.
But you also have, like, you know, we've had these stories in the women's tennis actually for years, because obviously you have the rivalry, say, between Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova. They just do not like each other, and it is brilliant. And we've seen a lot of that kind of bitterness, I suppose, for the want of a better word, and bite in women's matches. That they have been in the men's matches too, but they've been much more, I suppose, genteel.
It's more respect, isn't it? I've got to respect him, is what Owen's saying there as well. Anyone that talks bad about the top four, badly about the top four over the last 10 years since they've been dominating, it's like almost you discarded that, so you can't say that about him. Whereas the women's game has had spark in years, but this now with Kyrgios in there, you hope now that he can actually go on and be a bit of a competitor over the next year, a serious competitor anyway, because it would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he really needs to.
Yeah, he's got to go on to the next level before. He probably needed to be at Nadal's level or Federer's level before he's actually been the way that he is. It's almost but I don't know.
I think he needs a highly paid sports psychologist, somebody like me, who could go along, help him channel that rage, create something productive with it.
Make your pitch.
I should have brought my business cards in.
This is Dragon's Den. Nick Kyrgios is one of the Dragons. I don't know, he's yesterday in his press conference was very interesting, talking very honestly about just having the wrong attitude at times. He was like, I kind of gave up on that game. I shouldn't have given up on that game. But
it's very hard to stay...
Completely.
You know, in tennis in particular, and golf, it's so hard to keep that kind of focus. Like, I've been to Wimbledon a few times, and you're watching them, and they're in the middle of this most genteel but yet baying crowd, when you're allowed to make noise for like 10 seconds and the place goes nuts, and then you have to shut up, and then you just hear the ball bouncing. It's really tough on the mind. And then the likes of Kyrgios, when he's just a bit random as a person, I think. I don't know what's going on in his head. Obviously, we don't know what's going on, but is he that abnormal? I suppose the only difference is I think he might just be expressing what the other players are feeling. A lot of the time they're just smarter in that they hold it in. I think that's the difference. Yeah, it might be. We're going to have Colin Buhig in a little bit later on as well. He went through that beef yesterday on OTB AM, and it is also the main story on the back of the London Times this morning. Irate Kyrgios blast Nadal and umpire for their performances yesterday. And I think that's probably the same story in The Guardian, or have they gone with something else? No, The Guardian, same thing. They have a picture of Rafa Nadal, and they also have, I'm ready, I will try to deliver, Chelsea playing days count for nothing as coach, says Lampard. If you're a Chelsea fan, are you excited, Kev? Yeah, there's risk, of course, there's an element of risk with it, but, and I was talking about it last night, would he have got the Chelsea job if Chelsea didn't have the transfer ban? I'd probably say no, given the history of Chelsea the last 15 years. I don't think he would have got it, but
with Jody Morris, with his relationship with the youngsters there at Chelsea and how he's helped progress a lot of the younger players coming through the system there at Chelsea, I think that helps. I think that's why he's got the job. So there's the romantic that's within me that would always be, yes, this is a good appointment, but there's a lot of caution with it as well, that if it's going wrong, are you going to give him 2 years? Chelsea don't have a history of giving managers 2 years. It's not on the cards with Chelsea. So if Chelsea lose a few games and we're at Christmas time and Chelsea are mid-table and they're not necessarily playing quite well, will that be pressure on Frank Lampard? And it will be, essentially, but I think Chelsea will probably give him more time. He has that goodwill towards him more so than any other manager going in there. So I think it's a great appointment, because I've said it so many times that ex-players getting into coaching and management has to be a good thing. But he has to earn it now, and he's right what he's saying. His playing career actually means nothing. It means nothing, realistically. He'll get the goodwill because of it, but it's up to him now to get the best out of the team.
For some of the failings that Chelsea had last year, it wasn't a bad season. No, it wasn't a disastrous season.
Champions League finish or top 4 finish and a Europa League winners. So not at all, and that's where they are. City and Liverpool dominated last season, and they were the next best. So it's hardly a bad season.
What is the margin for improvement here? Like, you're taking away Maurizio Sarri here and putting in Frank Lampard. In my opinion, Maurizio Sarri is an outstanding manager. He may not have done the best job possible with Chelsea. Like, I do think he has to take some...
Is that the dressing room, though, Owen? I just think that is the problems in that dressing room there, and there has been for a number of years. Are the characters now within Premier League football taking over?
Well, Sarri, I think, has to take some of the blame for that, to not be able to actually control a dressing room, doesn't he? And I think that
it depends on the state of the dressing room before
Yeah, I don't know about that, Owen. I just think now the mentality on a modern day footballer now, it's almost as if you've got to, like, look what Klopp's done at Liverpool and look how he is and look how he's a different character, different personality. And I understand that that's the way that maybe you've got to be, but who else is like Klopp? There's no one in world management, in coaching, that's like Klopp. He's a one-off, he's unique. And that's what makes him so appealing to anyone when we're all watching him.
Look at someone like Maurizio Pochettino. Like, the idea that the players that he likes or the players that he feels are valuable to him, he treats them like a son. Whereas the players that he feels are not used to him, he treats them like a stranger.
Yeah.
And you can be a hard ass as well. You don't have to be like Klopp and be enthusiastic and have this insanely amazing personality. Like, I'd like bet on Frank Lampard having a better control of that dressing room than Maurizio Sarri, while also maintaining that Sarri's probably a better football
I'd probably say
manager.
Initially, but once you get a month or two into the season, that goes out the window. It's about what is he doing for me? Like, players are so selfish, and that's the way that's made them so driven. You have to be so selfish. If a manager's not doing well by you, then that can just come across a dressing room. Where Frank Lampard's reputation is, it could be in tatters very quickly. But that's the same for any coach going into any club, and it's about... He's saying that how you manage your dressing room is key now. It's probably not what he does on the training ground, because he'll have his coaches around him. It's about how he handles individuals in there, and he has that goodwill from the team and from the supporters straight away. But he has to do a lot. Yeah.
And isn't that the difference then, really? Because, say, for example, if things went downhill rapidly for Poch next season, he has all this back history that he can say, I've done this, I've done that, so he'll get another job. But isn't that the risk that Lampard takes, that he could destroy his career before it starts?
That's 100%, because realistically, he should not be getting that Chelsea job with what he's done in his management. Given what how Chelsea have made their appointments over the years, Frank Lampard should not be getting that job. But it's because of his relationship with the club and how he's been, how he is getting that job. So fair play to him. Totally wish him well. But there's a huge job on there as well, given that they have that transfer ban as well.
Yeah, for sure. Right, we're going to turn back to golf. We're going to get to Mayo against Galway in just a moment, because David Brady is suited and booted and he's waiting outside. But let's have a look at the man.
What a man.